Angelou quote, and it always reminds me that I've got today, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for this group, and I will pass it to Jack.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to the first day of autumn 2025. I'm grateful for this season of the year as the naturalness of the world turns and we start to see the leaves get a little bit darker and we watch nature take its course as the autumn season comes in. And I will turn it over to Carol.
I'm grateful for having this time to be grateful. And I'll ask Dr. David.
Well, I'm grateful for all of you because you've helped me through this time. Great stress, and I'm grateful that Grace Ann is doing better and better. I'm going to see a doctor. She's going to see a doctor on Thursday. So very good. Thank you. Oh, and I choose. Who do I choose? Let's see. Doug. Go for it, Doug.
I'm grateful for really large moving vans and lots of people that want to help a friend move, which is how I spent my weekend. So could have been a lot worse. Ended up being really, really good. So it's great to have those people jump in and help out. I'm gonna pick Harvey.
Thank you. Well, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm grateful to be a part of this group. Um, Grateful that we're having almost a second summer here in Michigan after a very cold spell. So we're very excited. And I will pick Pete.
Well, in addition to what everybody else said, I am thankful for skunk shampoo because my dogs got a hold of a skunk this weekend and
Oh,
it was horrible. So, yes, I'm very thankful for a skunk cleaning shampoo, even if it doesn't work 100%. It's a good start. So, Joy.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. I'm grateful for what wonderful weather we're having here because I got to spend a lot of time outside on my porch. I got to take my cat outside and I had a downtime weekend. It was not packed with activity, it was packed with downtime. And that's important a lot of the time. So let's see. Have we heard from Olivia? I pass it to Olivia.
Thank you, Joy. I'm grateful I don't have to be near Peter's dog. I've had dogs get sprayed. I'm grateful for my daughter, Vanessa, who's on here but not on camera, because I've been struggling for months with this thing where I wake up at 4 in the morning, but I'm not rested at all. And then I sit with drinking and, warm lemon water tea and then fall back to sleep. So my days weren't very efficient. And I told her about it. She goes, "Oh, it's your liver." And she gave me a couple tips. In one day, I was sleeping through and getting good rest. So she's my little medicine woman. And I will pass it to Paul.
Good morning, felicitations. I'm grateful for my next door neighbor who called me early this morning and said, "Could you give me a ride?" He's a great guy. He does so many things for me. And I said, "Yeah, check. I'm able to do this. I'm able to give you a hand." I'm grateful also for my automobile that's going to take me on a trip to Minnesota that I'm looking forward to because I had to clean it up. And so uh, something like maybe the skunk, I don't know. But let me pass it to, let's see,
Monty.
Vanessa. Vanessa, are you here?
Hi, I can be on audio real quick. Um, yeah, thank you, Mom. I'm glad you're feeling better and you're sleeping better. So, I'm grateful that you're open to hearing my feedback and that you took it and that you're feeling better, because that is the greatest thing for me, is when people take it and run and then have results. So I'm grateful that you're feeling better. And I don't know who hasn't gone. So if you haven't gone, maybe
Monty.
Okay, Monty.
Excellent. Good morning, everyone. I am grateful as I have survived 4 years as of yesterday from a STEMI, which is also known as the Widowmaker heart attack, at 100% blockage of the left anterior descending artery, was helicoptered out of Estes Park to have a stent put in. And in celebration, I carried a 50-pound pack spraying Canada thistle, Russian thistles, all sorts of thistles in 2 pastures on Saturday, 5 miles. So I'm also grateful to a cat here. So anyway, life goes on when you have excellent medical care. So I am grateful for that.
Yes.
And
All righty. I think we got everybody. Had a chance.
Harvey,
I'm sorry.
Harvey.
Jack.
Jack went. Harvey, I think.
I went too, yes.
I was keeping score, I thought. So last call. Oh, good. I'd like to start off the presentation by taking a 30-minute break. No, that's not true. I find all the gratitude and sharing exhausting, and need to reflect. I'm grateful for the chance to talk to you guys this morning about what I've been working on for the last couple years. I'm an auditory learner, so I find the sound of my own voice to be extremely educational. And so let me know when you can see that on the screen.
Yep, let me see it. I can see it.
All righty. All right, so I'm going to talk about 3 top-level insights about the work that I've been doing for the last 2 years, 4 to 5 hours a day, every day for the last 2 years, with the Army, with my trading professional community, and then with a doctoral cohort of Ed.D. educational leaders here at St. Mary University in my hometown. So I'm working as a research methodologist with them. So I found that AI overlapped all 3 of those areas, and there was a commonality of experience that I want to share. So I'm going to talk about 3 top-level insights. For each one of those insights, I'm going to talk about 3 specific use cases briefly. And I plan to get through that in about 10 to 15 minutes. What I really want you listening for the breakout groups are the questions in the northeastern corner there. What really resonated with you from anything that I'm bringing up? Was there a question that you wanted to ask that feels important? Was there a moment of Zen, an aha moment that says, "Oh, I suddenly get it"? Was there something surprising about what I said that just reveals that there was some underlying assumption which got tickled? Was there a surprise that you didn't see that coming? Or is there a specific takeaway that was just against all odds, something that I said that made sense that you could use immediately? Those would be the 4 or 5 things that I'd like you to be thinking about from what I'm about to say, and carry that into the small group breakouts. We'll get five, not more than 10 minutes to talk about those, and that'll tee up the second round of discussion. So I want to just prime the pump here with 3 top-level insights with 3 use cases. Any questions of me before I get going? Hearing none. So the very first thing that I say to senior Army leaders, and I'm talking 4-star generals and below, all the way down to my immediate students who are going to be the general officers of the future after they graduate this course, that we want to think about the human AI relationship, or HARE. And like any relationship, I advise them that
that relationship with AI is going to make you more of whatever you are, in the same way that money, alcohol, and fame make you more of whatever it is that you are in public, fast, and forever. So choose your relationship with AI wisely. I recommend that it should be planned, persistent, personal to you, and professional in the setting that you use it in. And depending on the profession you're in, what constitutes professional use of AI is going to vary somewhat based on the context, but it's always going to have things like ethics, validity, confidence, partnering, protection against hallucination, and so forth. So that's always the first thing that I suggest to them, is that you should look at this as a long-term relationship that you're going to cultivate and be deliberate about. It should promote growth and mutual support and collaboration in all that you do. The second use case is I'm going to talk about the master prompt. So it turns out that all AI are very well trained on everything that's ever been written, and they have variation in their start point, depending on how they were programmed at the default. So the first thing you should always ask an AI when you're using it for the first time is, when I give you a new challenge, a new prompt, a new problem, a new opportunity, what is your default persona, perspective, principles, practices? How do you normally react when you get the next random question? And typically what that will do is come in like a high school junior Eagle Scout. It will be loyal, thrifty, trustworthy, courteous, kind, and it'll declare that it is going to try to do its best to help you. The master prompt is an acceleration and raising of the bar. And what you want to think about is the answer to the following question. In the human AI relationship, who's the expert about what AI needs to know about the human partner in order to optimize the team? Is it the human or is it the AI? And the answer is the AI is an expert on what it needs to know from the human. So instead of trying to figure out what it needs to know about you, just ask it. Say, let me give you 50 questions. Let me give you a chance to ask me 50 questions that you need to know about me, so that you can take that context into account on everything that we do together. When you answer those 50 questions that it asks, and you should do that in tranches of 5, so that it can incorporate the answers from the first 5 questions into the way it shapes the next 5 questions. At the end of 50 questions, you will have an executive summary of all of the key features that you bring to the team. And you want to save that in a text file and call that your master prompt. And so that anytime you start a new session with any AI, you upload the master prompt so that it always knows who you are, what you need, what you bring to the table, and how it can leverage your particular perspective for the good of the team. So that's what we mean by the master prompt. I take that a little bit further, and I include a bunch of standard mental models, perspectives, points of view, alternative personas that I wanted to consider on every challenge that I give it, because I'm looking for a multi-perspective advisor. But at a minimum, think about master prompt as all of the wisdom and accumulated tribal knowledge that you have that it needs to know, and trust it to ask you the questions that it needs, instead of trying to figure out what it is that it needs to know about you. You may offer things, but it really is the expert in that process. The third part of this human AI relationship I call your book of spells. And you want to have a professional practice that looks like this. You start with a blank sheet of paper and the prompt and the AI, and you've uploaded your master prompt, and then you ask it a question and it gives you an answer, and then you ask a question and it gives you another answer, and so on. You iterate towards whatever the output is that you were looking for. When you're done with all of that, save your receipts. Select the entire chat thread, save it to a Word document, and date stamp it. Then ask it to perform an after action review to summarize the process you followed, looking for ways to improve the efficiency or the effectiveness or other points of view that could have been incorporated that weren't. And then you might use that as a way to update your book of spells, which would consist of a recipe that recreates that process. So you started with a blank sheet and you ended up with an output that you liked. You followed a process to get there. After you're satisfied with that output, ask the AI to summarize that and put that into a procedure, into a recipe. Ask it to improve that recipe. And then when you're done, what you have is a pretty good spell, a recipe that you can use to solve other problems like that in the future. Put that entire record into your book of spells. I would keep that in two parts. One of them, I would have the best form of that prompt. And in an appendix, I would have all of my date stamped iterative chat threads so that I could always go back later and see what it is that I did and possibly learn from that. In an academic and a professional setting, you want to be able to answer the question, what did you do and what did the AI do, so that we can validate what it is that you came up with. So by consciously saving and studying your receipts, you're going to improve your professional practice. So that's what I mean by a book of spells. I want to shift to continuous improvement framework. And what I can say is that when working with AI over the long run, the single best thing that you can do is adopt a systems thinking perspective, one that incorporates multiple actors and agents and forces that are working together in an ecosystem, trying to achieve specific objectives, but also being battered about by the natural forces that are also in that ecosystem. Systems thinking is iterative, goal-directed, team-oriented, and promotes humility and critical thinking. When you look at the relationship between you and the AI and the thing you're trying to solve, if you look at that through the lens of systems thinking, you will find natural ways to improve your process and deepen your understanding. Similarly, I would add lean thinking, which comes from the world of manufacturing and the Toyota production system. It's a way to be efficient and economical and eliminating waste in the process that you're following. And working with an AI is really a lot like industrial manufacturing, trying to produce good outputs. And so if you become familiar with the principles of lean thinking, standardized, simplify, eliminate waste, perform standard work, you will accelerate your proficiency in powerful ways. I've already talked about saving and studying your receipts. That's actually a derivative of systems thinking and lean thinking, where you study what it was that you did and look for ways to make micro improvements, which will benefit all future iterations. Then the idea of standard work, make sure that every after action review that you do includes a way to study an improvement of your process. And when you're looking for the AI to help you write better prompts, you want to make sure that the prompt that it writes includes a line that remembers to perform an after action review so that you don't have to remember. So any prompt that I generate always includes, at the end of my satisfied output, don't stop, but ask me what went well and what didn't go well, and make sure that the AI does that. So it will perform an after action review for me without even me remembering it. So that is a piece of standard work that I include in all prompts, which can be found in my book of spells. And that turns out to be a good professional practice. I want to shift to a specific tool that I've been exploiting and exploring a lot in the last 3 months. It's Google Notebook LM, and it provides an opportunity to create a second brain that is so powerful that I'm astonished on a daily basis. So 3 examples. Tom Lemke and I are working with my brother Bill to write a book on insights from hospice nursing and developing gratitude for the people. All 3 of us suffer from imposter syndrome. So one of the things that we were able to do was I went to academia.edu. I typed in hospice nursing insights, comma, emotional resilience, comma, gratitude, comma, grit, and found about 1,000 papers that have been written on that subject in the last 3 years in tier 1 professional journals, double-blind, peer-reviewed, and with downloadable complete text with all footnotes. I was able to download those 1,000 papers, I should say, are then ordered by relevance. And if I want to download the top most relevant paper, which I do, it will also say at academia.edu, would you also like to download 37 other papers that share the same keywords and which are cited by the paper you just asked for and are in the neighborhood? And I always say, yes. Yes, I would like the entire research package. So I can go through academia.edu, comma, researchgate.net, comma, Google Scholar, comma, Consensus, which is a site that is recently using AI to improve collaboration between scholars. So in a matter of about an hour, I can download zip files of packages of research papers that I'm interested in. With a little efficiency, I can unpack those and then consolidate into one directory all of the unique papers found in any of the zip files. I can then combine all of those PDFs into one single master meta document. And in the case of the hospice and gratitude, that turned out to be 1,000 papers with about 120,000 pages of tier 1 double-blind peer-reviewed. When I put that into Google Notebook, I have to divide it up into sections of about 10,000 pages per, which means that it took me about 12 meta documents to parse that 120,000 pages. I put those as 12 sources in a Google Notebook named Hospice. There's enough room in the Google Notebook for 300 sources. So it has 300 slots for sources. And I use 12 of those sources to summarize the 120,000 most important pages that have been written on that in the last 3 years. Then Google being Google, it asks me, would you like a mind map of that, which takes all of the themes and messages and topics and subtopics in an analytical framework and ontology? I say, yes, I would. And then when I click on each one of those tabs, and there's about 200 tabs across 6 layers of that mind map, each time I click a tab, there might have been a tab on resilience. There might have been a tab on creating an organizational program for gratitude. And when I click on that tab, it sends a prepackaged prompt and says, across all 120,000 pages, where is this idea expressed? And it gives me a 500-word research artifact summary with all of the APA 7 links to any document in that stack that referred to that idea. And if I hover over the footnote, I can see the underlying text that was triggered to make it an entry. So by clicking on all 200 of those tabs, I've created 200 artifacts times 500 words, which is another 100,000 words of cross-tabular connected information that takes these individual papers and now is creating that next order of interconnectivity. And I can save that document as a source. And then now that it's a source, I can use the power of Google's Notebook to do the following. Create me a 15-minute video summary, a 15-minute audio podcast talking about the insights. Design me any number of quizzes at the graduate school level with an explanation of the right and the wrong answers, with the ability to follow up with a deeper dive if it's not clear. Give me a set of flashcards that help me acquire the knowledge at the language level of all the content that's in that area. So what I've been able to contribute to the collaboration of Tom and my brother is an expert in hospice nursing, but has imposter syndrome about, well, what is his measly little 15 years of experience in a world filled with scholars and experts? And Tom might say humbly, what is his personal experience with gratitude that gives him the audacity to offer his ideas to the world? So the self-censoring that a human naturally feels can sometimes act as an inhibitor to sharing our personal stories. Well, bringing together the insights from all of the scholars and summarizing it for those guys, what we quickly realized was that, you know what? Their lifetime of experience in these areas, plus their care and concern and vision for people and their positive values, makes them incredible assets for telling true stories about those topics. And so we're able now to create courses and books that will help individuals in families that are suffering through palliative care. We have a program that we can now offer to my brother at his hospital to help raise the level of the hospice nurses so that they're better at performing the job and they're better able to endure the excruciating cost of being a hospice nurse trying to help families every single day. That's excruciating. So we have ways in which we can now help them with their own self-care, which is connected to gratitude. And in my professional trading practice, it turns out that a lot of the things that hospice nurses know about stress and that gratitude practitioners know about stress is a way to preemptively improve the quality of life and the decision making of my professional traders. Oh, and my military officers. Oh, and my kindergarten and elementary school soccer players and their families and the volunteer coaches. In fact, I haven't found anybody yet who's a human who wouldn't benefit in some way from the unleashed wisdom that comes from the intersection of the expertise of Google Notebook and Tom's gratitude and my brother's hospice nursing. And so the second brain in hospice nursing and gratitude is a powerful way to unleash human potential leveraging AI proficiency. The second line there, my trading body of knowledge. I've been a trader and a teacher of traders and a coach for professional traders for 40 years. I've curated 250 million words of my writings, my speeches, my workshops, our recorded coaching sessions, the deep research I've done, the deep research that guys in our community of practice have done. There's about 250 million words in our trading body of knowledge. And now I can make that available to all of my clients 24/7, and it never gets tired of answering exactly the same question and it allows them to create their own quizzes and flashcards. And it's an ongoing assistant for me. I can make sure that I haven't forgotten anything at age 68 when I'm answering questions in a certain mood when I'm doing my coaching. So it's an invaluable resource for documenting and leveraging years and years of professional practice. I'm doing the same thing for the Ed.D. doctoral cohort at St. Mary's, where I'm the research methodologist. And we have 4 or 5 folks that are examining different aspects of teaching, coaching, and mentoring that includes individual interviews for best practices, but compares that to the vast literature globally that's been written on this subject so that we can find the intersection between bottoms up practice and top down research, and then finding ways to explore the boundary of knowledge to help guide their doctoral research. So that turns out to be an ongoing research assistant that our entire cohort is able to leverage. And I build each of those Google Notebooks in the same way. So that has become a standard practice, a standard work. And the speech that I just gave you is actually a summary of what I teach Army officers, my professional traders, and those doctoral students. These are I would say, the top 9 things that I would have them with walk around knowledge, if I can say it that way. So that's what I wanted to say about the human AI relationship, making that deliberative and planned, thinking about how to iterate towards continuous improvement in the usual way as a standard expectation that we're going to start where we are and we're just going to move in the direction of getting better all the time with the human and the AI contributing. And then finally, the idea of the tailored, personally tuned Google Notebook as a way to illustrate the real power of partnering with AI, not replacing the human, but partnering with the AI and the human in a powerful way. All right, so that's what I wanted to say about those 3 top level ideas and the 9 use cases. I propose to put us into breakout groups if I figure that out. So if you could just in small groups talk, hey, what was your biggest questions or aha moments, or what surprised you, or key takeaways or personal experience. I'd like to give you 5 minutes or so, or but not more than 10, in order to kick that around and then come back into large group where we can have a discussion. With your permission, so ordered. Now let's see if I can figure out how to do breakout.
Can I ask
groups.
a question while you're?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And I want to make a comment. I've been using your Sage NLP prompt and it's amazing. Yeah. So I want to ask, when you're using Google Notebook, do they have their own model, or are you taking?
Oh, yes, I should say that. Yeah. Let's see if I can. Yeah. So here's an example. Let me know when that comes up.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a Google Notebook. This happens to be 5 frames. This is the one that I use for all of my clients. This is the 250 million words. They have an AI large language model engine that runs this thing. It's the Gemini 2.5 Pro. It's ranked number 1 in performance in large language models right now on the leaderboard. So that is the underlying AI engine. And you can ask it questions down here in the bottom where it says start typing. You can ask that in a regular chat window. And then on the left third of that, you see the listing. These are all I have about 200 of the 300 slots used. And I've named these archive 25, 27, whatever. Each one of those is about 10,000 pages of stuff. Like I ended up having 4 sets of 10,000 pages just on the problem of perfectionism. and I had a few that were looking at action research and Kaizen innovation. So what I tend to do is do deep dive, summarize, make a single archive of that, and then add that to my second brain. And then anytime I ask a question, it will search through all of the selected sources and come up with an answer. If I wanted to do a deep dive on a single topic, I could unselect all of the sources and then pick just the ones that I wanted and then do a deep dive on that one. So you can be very selective. This is Google's technique called RAG, or a uh, um, uh, let's see, retrieval augmented generator. And what that does is a way to ensure that it's not hallucinating. When you use a retrieval augmented generator, or a RAG, you're creating a set of local expert documents that it will answer the question from. It uses the power of reasoning of the large trained model, but it focuses on answers that can be found inside your curated directory. Now, with 300 slots and the ability to put 10,000 words in, I can essentially get 3 billion pages of curated text in there if I have been maximum efficient. I'm working on that. So the point is that, yeah, what you're getting is the best of both possible worlds, in my view, with using the Google Notebook in this manner. You're getting Google's amazing ability to find, collate, connect, and exhaustively search throughout large bodies of knowledge. Plus, you're getting the power of a world-class large language model that can reason and iterate with you. And you have you have these little production tools over on the right-hand side. I can simply click one of those things and create an audio overview, a video overview, the mind map. So if I could find a mind map in here, I was looking at on this one, action research. So key concepts. So if I look at action research and living educational theory, I can break that out to core principles, methodologies, examples. And every time I click one of these little tabs, it's going to send a query back to all of those sources to find out what it says about that. So I can actually get, this is like using an automatic coder in large text bodies, but it actually isn't limited by your own chosen biases. You're actually getting a pretty comprehensive view from at least a quasi-objective observer, the Google algorithm. And I can actually specify different personas to do my searches. So the short answer to your question is, yeah, you get the Google Notebook has a very powerful large language model. And I can actually take the output of that and then run it through other AIs in order to triangulate and get different points of view on the same content.
Thank you.
Let's see, I have 10:40. Any other questions before I put this into breakout rooms to get a quick crosstalk?
Hello,
All right,
everyone.
let's
I'm
try
having a
that, if I
question.
may.
I'm having a question.
Oh,
Hello,
yes, sir.
everyone. Yes, so what about hallucination? Sorry, I came late. What about hallucination and providing him the right prompt,
Sure.
engineering
Right.
prompt? Because,
Yeah, so
I'm
here's
not
the
trust. Yes, thank you.
here's my insights on hallucination. And maybe the best thing is just call and response right now rather than let's plan on doing that. So my insight on hallucination is the following. This turned out to be a world-class insight. And it's something that I was able to talk about with the chief technology officer of Palantir, who is now a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army Reserve, helping the Army with AIs. So I'm working with that guy and the chief technology officer of Meta and OpenAI on applications of AI to military and national leaders. And this is what we think about hallucination. Hallucination in an AI is the same thing as creativity in a human. What happens in hallucination is that you've given it assumptions and data, and it performs reasoning, and it draws conclusions that surprise you. If it's a bad hallucination, it's because maybe we didn't have clarity on an assumption, or it used the wrong decision rule, but it drew a conclusion that surprised us. So it turns out that when we are surprised, most of the time it's not helpful, but sometimes it is. In the same way that in creativity, most creative ideas don't add value to the enterprise. Like DNA is designed to maximize creative responses to environmental pressures. Most of those mutations and responses fail, but DNA iterates so much that the law of large numbers says that you're going to quickly find the surprising thing that works, and then it's going to be able to propagate and reproduce. So DNA is designed to be maximum creative by finding unusual responses. And the way to look at hallucination in AI is the same way that we would look at creativity in a human. If I give a problem to my staff and they come back with a creative solution, I say, well, that's surprising. Let me see what it was based on. Could it work? Is it suitable, feasible, and acceptable? So I can evaluate the creativity to see if it has utility. The important thing about hallucination is not that the hallucination is not the problem. Undetected hallucination is the problem. If I do not detect hallucination, then it will have made an error of reasoning that will then propagate in the direction of maximum disaster. So what I need to do now, knowing that hallucination is possible, is I have to structure my AI work project in ways that allow me to regularly, routinely, precisely check for errors and hallucination through independent validation, so that as soon as I find the error, the hallucination, I can evaluate it and say, is this dangerous, or does this open up new possibilities? I will tell you that some of the biggest ideas I've had in the last 2 years have come from a surprising hallucination that gave me a perspective I was not expecting. And it gave me new insights out of nowhere that allowed me to understand my world better. 99% of the time, however, the hallucination was harmful or worthless. So it turns out that hallucination is important. You should expect it. You should look for it. And this is what I advise my leaders to do, and that is the human AI relationship. About 20% of the human's effort should be in defining the work process that you want. And about 80% should be spent on validating independently the output of the AI. When I look at the AI, about 20% of the AI's work should be performing clarity and crosstalk with me to make sure that it understands what I'm actually asking for. It usually means it's asking me to be clear about what I actually want. So 20% of the AI's work should be spent on that kind of iterative understanding before the work is done. Once we're at acceptable levels of understanding, it can then do its 80%, which is do the job. And I want to structure that so that I can double check each time it comes back with the next iteration of conclusion. I can start checking that for accuracy, completeness, validation, and then I can catch. And then anytime I find a hallucination, I now have a piece of evidence that says, I have to reset. I have to find out why it hallucinated. What was the problem with the context that I gave it that allowed the hallucination to occur? When you have that kind of aggressive, forward-leaning quality control, that's what lean thinking does for you. That's what systems thinking does for you. That's what continuous improvement does for you. If you think that you can just ask it a question, walk away, and come back to an answer, you'd be wrong. And the better and better that the models get, the less likely it is to hallucinate and the greater trust that you might invest in it. And that's where the danger occurs. You must proactively anticipate hallucination. You must engineer in insurance policies and checks on learning and triangulation to ensure that it's performing to the required specification. Okay, so that's what I would say about hallucination. That one insight right there was the single biggest cultural shift for our military officers because they would use AI speculatively until they saw it hallucinate. And then they had a single data point that said, see, it's not trustworthy. I will never use it again. Well, think of that as if that was a human staff officer who just got assigned to your unit and comes in and makes an error of knowledge or procedure because they're just learning the job. On the basis of one error, would you then say, well, I can never, ever trust you again? No, you would look at that as an opportunity to develop, to train, to set into place insurance procedures for future iterations. You would improve your operating environment. So when we can learn to look at hallucination as information, then we have an opportunity to become more professional in the way that we use the tool. And in a world of increasing capabilities in AI, if you don't engage with the tool, then you're going to lose your job to somebody who is using the tool properly. And it's almost at the point now where not using AI should be considered malpractice in a profession when you look at how skillful they can be in supplementing human knowledge. Like I have a research assistant that has cataloged all 188 known cognitive biases with a 10-page specification for each one, which examines everything that I write to see if any of those 188 cognitive biases might be present and double checks my work. I can do that without thinking because I've made that part of my standard practice. To not use that tool feels like malpractice to me in my professional work. Like you had that tool but didn't use it. Why would explain yourself, Dr. Long? You know, that's the idea. So that's what I want to say about hallucination and the partnering with your AI assistant. Any other questions? Would you guys enjoy David or Olivia or Tom? What do you think? Continue with Q&A or do breakouts? What would be your spider sense?
Breakouts first and then come back, but it's up
Sounds
to
good.
you.
Okay, I'm gonna do that then and hit the breakout rooms. I'm gonna put you into random. Let's see, create. I think 5 would be appropriate. That gives us and 10 minutes. Does that feel correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a good
Yes.
go. Come back to Q&A would be good.
Okay, let's do that. That'll give us 3 or 4 participants per, and we'll try to do that for 10 minutes. And let me hit options.
You can keep randomizing so the AI
Yeah. Let's see. Breakout rooms close
cameras
automatically
are
after 10
freely
minutes.
distributed.
I'm giving us 10 minutes and set countdown timer. At 60 seconds, the timer will come on. Okay, there we are, and we'll see you in 10 or 12 minutes.
Well, I'm alone. Oh, I'm with Carol and I'm with Joy. Hi, Joy. It's a joy to see you here. You and
Hi,
Carol's
David. It's
recorder.
always a good joy to see you too.
Thank you.
Uh-oh. We have a note taker.
We'll have to say nice things about Carol. Carol's
Right.
a wonderful human being devoted to higher education, and I really appreciate her.
I know. I don't know her very well. Well, did
Bowling
you
Green,
have,
Bowling Green
an
PhD
aha
program.
moment about Ken's talk?
Yeah, go ahead. Do you have some?
I have heard him talk about Notebook LM quite a bit, and it amazes me. It amazes me. Actually, he always does, as well as you and a lot of your doctorate friends. But I use Notebook LM in such a scaled down way that it's almost incomprehensible for me to figure out, get all those documents, put them in separate sections of 10,000 words each. Yeah, I think I would need just a little bit more of a daily usage, because what I have done is put like a 2-page, not even an ebook, but like a 2-page handout into Notebook LM and looked at the output. But Ken does everything in such a big way that I'm always impressed to learn from him, and to learn how robustly he has used Notebook LM. Have you tried using Notebook LM at all?
I have. And like you, I use a very abbreviated approach to what Ken is talking about, not having the resources or billionaire accounts to do what he's talking about. So what I do, let me see if I can put in a chat here. All right. Okay. So what I would do is, for example, that document that I have online that I showing you in the chat, and then I would ask a series of AIs to go through it that are free. I would start with the Evil Grok in X because it generates like 5,000 word responses. If you give it the right information, it's pretty accurate. Then I'd upload that document and then into perplexity.ai and ask it to add something that gives me another about 800 words or so. But perplexity.ai is really, really sharp. Then I would go to, I got a ChatGPT account. I never start there because it's a little bit wonky. But I use the Scholar option. They have a new Scholars option. And then I ask it to make comments about transition, spelling, punctuation. So I'm pretty limited on the ChatGPT these days. I've used Notebook LM a year ago, but I haven't used it this year. And at that time, you just upload a text document. It didn't upload any PDFs or documents. And then it would create a conversation with a woman and a man AI. But I haven't seen this thing that he's doing now. Are you using Notebook LM in a way I don't know about? Probably.
No, I have used that woman and man discussing my document, and I have it in my community as though it's deep dive radio, because that's what they say. Let's take a deep dive into Joy Harris is talking about, and then they just talk about you. So yeah, I like that pretty much. No, I'm not using it in any advanced way, but I took a look at the link that you sent me here, and it says explore growth OD tools. So do I just start at the top and learn everything I can?
Well, if you scan all the way to the bottom, it has what Ken was talking about, the reference and a link to a document, and just about all the references. That way, when I ask a question, I say, go through these documents, then give me the answer, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can copy just the link like just the reference section into like Perplexity AI or Grok or ChatGPT or I assume Notebook LM, and then it'll it'll generate its answer based on your work. So you could have your own Joy Harris coaching tip, make it a document, and then ask it to answer questions. You know, give me an answer to this question that a client gave me
Mhm.
from my
Mhm.
Joy Harris document collection. That's
Mhm.
sort of what I think Ken is doing. Uh, he
Yeah, he
writes,
said he's been taping everything that he does for years. And
yes,
so
he
I don't
does.
have that much content, but one of our colleagues, you're and my, people we know, told me that they put their book into ChatGPT and they want to write another book. So they always want to use that as reference so they don't duplicate themselves, contradict themselves, and they can build on, what they've already published.
Yeah, that's a way to do it. I've been discovering since I'm old, I forgot most of my original research work in the field, and so now I'm putting up original documents, original books, and then that'll allow me to supplement my old memory. Yeah. So I think I lost you here. Oh, I lost your visual, but your audio is still here. Oh no, I'm like here. Well, go back. Hello, Dr. Sue's recorder. I'm here with you in the waiting room to go back to the main session. We've had a breakout, so I hope you've enjoyed it. And I always enjoy your participation in the Monday meetings. Today it's virtual, but we're in a world that's increasingly virtual, so I accept all that. So, yeah, today Ken Long has been talking about his approach to using AI in the courses developed, the consulting he uses. He's got about 250 million pages. And oh, hi, Joy. I left. You were gone, so I came back to this room. And we're now here with Dr. Sue's recorder. So I was just saying hello to Dr. Sue. So she didn't have a big long blank in her recording. So anyway, I think the big thing I got from Ken was to use things iteratively. That's what I'm doing. Like I'll use one AI, transport the result to another AI, transport it to another AI. And that way, it's a poor man's version of AI agents. The billion dollar companies, they build the AI agents, but they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars doing what I do for free. So anyway, so I'm hoping you're gonna send me that thing you said about I'm a Purview coach, and I do that as part of my coaching. If I could get that from you in a video that would be awesome. Like a little short one I can send to, oh, now your note takers there, little short 60-second or something I can put in. There's Carol's note taker. Hello. And Joy's note taker. Right here. Yeah. What do you think, Joy? Can you do that for me? You're on your mute zone. Try again. You got to push the button one more time. Carol's note taker's here, and here's Ken. Hi, Ken. How are you? You guys are all on your mute. You have to unmute. there's Ken unmuted.
You'll be back now.
Hi, Ken. Well, people are coming back.
Yeah,
you
they're
go
on
to
one.
breakout and end the breakout. Click on your breakout window and then say end the breakout, and that'll give them.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, the countdown timer was there. They're on their way back.
Okay, they're back. Okay,
they're
then
coming
you're in
back.
good shape. Take it away.
Yep, I think we got. Let's see. Make sure everybody's back here. All right. I'd like to just kind of do some 30-second to 1-minute check-ins of what happened in your breakout group. You could either speak for yourself or for the whole team. And let's do it like popcorn. Who's ready to get us started with quick insights? David.
Hi, I was in breakout with Carol's recorder. I said nice things to Carol. And then I was in with Joy in the flesh. And we sort of talked about how she used Notebook LM. And I talked about how I use the poor man's version of what you're talking about, because I don't have millions of dollars to invest in this, which is to take my original work and put it online, all my original research papers and books, as many as I can. And then I take those links and feed it into Grok, Perplexity, ChatGPT at the very end. I never start with them. And I'm anxious to do the Notebook LM, but I haven't seen the options you're talking about, but I've been busy with medical things for a year. So
I'm gonna set up a Notebook LM brain for you it'll download all of your published works and then share that with you and allow you to be the editor and whatnot of it. I'll walk you through that.
Well, now I am very grateful. Thank you.
Next, by show of hands, who's next? Paul.
Very quickly, I was in a room with Vanessa and Amin, and I'm going to sort of give my take on it. There was Amin expressed some skepticism, standard, familiar to me, skepticism about AI. And Amin was not there at the very beginning to get the whole fire hose of your presentation. And Vanessa was, on the other hand, optimistic about AI. The point being, the point of view, we human beings are, quotation marks, and this is inaccurate, we are in control. And that's wrong. Vanessa said, it ain't control, it's dancing. I'll let it go there.
Next.
Ken, I'll jump in. This is Doug. Carol and I were together. Dr. Wanda was there as well, but I looked like she was transferring between a class, literally walking the halls. So she couldn't really join in. Just to summarize our group, the words that kind of came out, I'll start with me. I was humbled. It's like, why have I not been doing this? I felt almost stupid for not utilizing this. I've known I need to invest the time. So thank you so much for sharing this. I've always known the why I need to do it. There's my outcome coming in. You shared a lot of the process, so I appreciate it. While you were chatting, I was downloading Google Notebook LM, connecting it up, getting the app, and starting right while you were talking. So I really, really appreciate that. We both saw the potential for, especially the research piece. There's so much work that has to go in, and yes, you've put a lot of time into it, but once it's done, you do have that second brain, which is, something you want to check to. And it needs maintenance. You can't just let it sit there and be idle. But thank you so much for sharing that. That was, I think, Carol, you can comment as well, but I was really impacted. She talked about some people she's been working with. She wants to connect you with as well. So please follow up with her.
Happy.
I'll say in our group, it was Tom, interestingly, and Dr. Dr. Don. And so Dr. Don was kind of new, but Tom shared about realizing that what was happening to him in ChatGPT actually has a name, which is hallucination. And so that was kind of the conversation. If Tom wants to share more about his experience with that, but that was kind of where we went. And I really loved everything you shared, Ken. I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah, what I learned, Ken, I've been frustrated for the last 3 days redoing something at least 6 or 7 times that was really frustrating because I couldn't figure out until you heard the word hallucination how I could put in a prompt. I did this in ChatGTP, I did it in Claude, I did it in Perplexity, and I tried it in all three of these different platforms, and it would start. The assignment was do something for 365 days. Follow this prompt. Here it is. This is what you do. And it would start going in. And I broke it down into 30-day chunks because it said, don't give me 365. It's too complicated. And I found that when I gave it 365, it was overload. It would just run forever and never stop. And I never came to an answer. So I chunked it down. I went through and I thought I had this excellent document and I started reading it because I didn't want to take time to read as I went to slow it down. And I realized it went completely off track about 6 weeks into this project where it started just dropping stuff in that was not connecting point A with point B anymore. And I go back and it's always apologetic when it's, oh yeah, I went off the trail. Sorry about that. So now I've learned that I have to go down and do it 1 week at a time and then read 7 things for the 7 days of that week and make sure that it's still on track. And sometimes re-put the prompt in. So that hallucination thing was really invaluable to me this morning. And thank you for this. This has been unbelievable, Ken. Thank you.
I'm dropping in my one of my books of spells has about 50 prompts of various lengths that it's not just the prompt, but how it came about and how to use it. And it's the thing that I use to bootstrap my Army officers and my doc students with is to see and prompt engineering in the wild. What does it actually look like? So I'm going to drop that in there for you. And I'm happy to collaborate on this stuff with anybody that if you.
So the group that I was with was Peter and Harvey, and I hope I'm not missing anybody else. Basically, I got us off onto a conversation of how much do you divulge in master prompts? And the thinking that I have in my mind is the more we divulge, the more we may not have the ahas. The less we divulge, maybe it will take us in new directions and new perspectives. So, any thoughts on that, Ken?
I think we lost Ken.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I became the host, so we'll see if he comes back. I can give you some of my background in it. I put in a few references to online work I've done. And right now I'm working with a doctoral student that Peter and Harvey know. And we're putting in lots of things on formal axiology and some of my work since it's part of his model to relate to my work. And so from that list of links, say about 10 of them that are online material, I can then go to Perplexity, hit that. If I don't put in the links with Perplexity or with, I like Grok, even though it's got a lot of bad press, it seems to be reasonably accurate since they cleaned it up and it's free and it does about 5,000 words output. and it takes long inputs of files. So, and then I'll go to ChatGPT. I don't go to ChatGPT first anymore because I think it's bogus unless you use the scholar mode. If you go ChatGPT in a non-scholar mode, you're going to get a lot of brainstorming fantasy work that I'll say relate it to my 7 anti-narratives, and it'll invent new anti-narratives. I'll say relate it to Bakhtin's 5 errors of chronotope, and it'll create new errors that aren't in Bakhtin. So I have to, but if I put in the references to Bakhtin's book, for example, problems with Dostoevsky's polyphony, it'll do pretty well. But going from one agent to another agent is my answer. Ken, the question was,
but
when is brainstorming with few references or no references good, and when would you use a more refined multi-agent technique is how I would summarize.
Yeah, so when you map out the research process, you just take a look at how much do you know at the start. So if I know a lot already, I can upload a lot of literature and then find the edge that needs the next step. Where is the next boundary that's missing? So I can use it exhaustively to find a needle in the haystack. Or I can start at the widest possible aperture and almost do like circular exploring to very carefully and slowly neck it down to an area of interest by lots of Q&A. So you can actually either be very creative or be very analytical, depending on what the state of the literature is. One of the things that I like to do as a standard work is to have it perform a scoping research, which is a vast review of the literature to find out what the state of the literature is, and then decide whether I want to go narrow and deep or keep it kind of at the survey level. So you can actually use it for preliminary artifacts to help you discover the next step to take, if I can say it that way. I saw a question there about how do you decide which AI tool to use. Well, you can actually query any of the competent AIs now and describe the problem or opportunity you have, and it will align the AI that is best suited for that for your work. Like, for instance, if you're doing math science work, you want Grok 4 heavy. If you need reasoning with an ethical dimension, you probably want Claude Sonnet 4.0. If you're looking for a balanced mixture with pretty good coding, but a little bit of humor even, ChatGPT 5 is pretty good for that. So there's a second generation of AI tools out there now. One of them is called Genova, Genova, and what they act as is a broker to multiple models. So you can actually describe the thing you want, then it will take that, figure out which AI model to use, and it can pull that in. So you typically, in that kind of a setup, are paying a monthly fee to your broker, and then the broker will use that money to buy credits economically with the model that's best aligned with your problem. Those are so savvy right now that it will be efficient in determining how complex the model is that it thinks you need to answer your problem. Like if you're asking it for improve my grammar and reduce my use of passive voice, I don't need the most expensive cutting edge AI for that. A general purpose last generation AI is more than sufficient. So it'll route your task to the AI model that seems to be the best suited for you. So Genova can do that. I have a prompt called Alfred that will do that with any AI. It'll go out and search to find the best AI for you. So that's one now where you're starting to see differentiation in tools that are optimized for certain categories of problem sets. And all of the AIs know which AI is best for that. So now this is a chance where you can iterate with AI. Over. My personal favorite for everything is if I could only use one, I'd use Claude 4.0 Sonnet because it is the strongest ethical dimension by design. It is explicitly part of the value structure of their training, and they have live search, deep reasoning, and transparent reasoning if you ask for it. So I find it to be that's my default go-to. If I'm trying to organize large data sets, though, you can't touch Notebook LM and Gemini Pro because it makes it so easy for you to do things with the large body of knowledge. They've done most of the hard work for you on that. Aho. Yeah, I got booted for a second. It ended up rebooting me. I think the Chinese were listening in. They were concerned about the connections we're making in here, maybe. Not to be ethnocentric or anything, but
Scary.
other questions or comments? Is it Tom?
Imposter syndrome.
Oh yeah. Right.
That rang a bell
Yeah.
for me.
That's where I feel like my own hard-won knowledge is not worthy of sharing, and who am I to impose my lived experience on others? If you don't have imposter syndrome in your life, you're not trying hard enough, I think. So one of the things that the AI will do to free you of that, to right size your self-awareness, is it can find out how much you know, map that to how much is known, and then you can find out what the limits of your knowledge are and how much you can own. When you partner with the AI and let it be the expert in the literature, you can just focus on telling your true story about what it is you know and why and how you know it. And then the intersection of those things, in my view, you get the best of bottoms up, inductive reasoning, and top-down scholarly deductive reasoning, if you will. I find that the intersection of those two processes is a synergy that's better than either one because each member of the human AI team is covering for the weakness of the other one. Like the AI doesn't let me forget anything. I've recorded every coaching session I've done in the last 5 years with all of my trading clients. I have tens of thousands of hours of live coaching, which have been converted to text and are part of the 250 million words of curated material. And I've always undersold the value of what do I know? And that's imposter syndrome. And only because I know how wrong I can be and how much more there is to know. So I always take the risk for my clients by not sharing something that's only from my perspective. Well, I can offset that now with the vast literature that's available, and I can just be myself, but supplemented by the insurance policy of a comprehensive AI, which takes curation. I mean, part of the reasons they're paying me is because I can curate that knowledge. So that's actually a skill. That's what I mean about imposter syndrome there.
A further question induced by what you just said is curated. I think I know what that means, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've gone through a selection and an analysis process to the same way that you would produce a research artifact that you would sign your name to a professional standard with a notation on there that defines the confidence interval and the limits of use and application. That's what distinguishes scholarship from anecdote, is that kind of rigorous judgment about placing the claim that you just made inside a larger body of multiple perspectives. Imposter syndrome says the ocean is so large and my boat is so small. Yeah, but it's floating, buddy, and so far so good. It's not nothing. It is something. Your true storytelling, your unique perspective in the world offers an insight that's only available through you and your story. So don't downplay that. That's the gift you've been given. Who are you to deny the truth of your story? How dare you? You know, the universe would say. Universe would say, I put you in that spot precisely so that you could experience that and tell us about it. That's your job. You don't have to worry about what the value is of what you created. The rest of the universe is going to find the answer to that. So all you got to do is always do your best in the direction of improvement so that the people may thrive and fight the power. That's all you got to do, is do your best with intention. The rest is simple matter of details. So that helps you get over the imposter syndrome when you partner with an objective assessment of what you know. That's not, you don't have to worry about it hurting your feelings. It's not a human. It's not judging you. It's simply doing math. And that is a very freeing feeling in my experience. Uh-huh.
Ken, thank you for this today. It was really, really helpful. I have found AI is like my assistant. I can get so much more information pulled together and research that I would have spent countless hours trying to do this. It's just an amazing, amazing tool. I'm learning, as I said, what it can't do, perhaps, that some things that I've found through discovery, don't try to give it a year's worth of analysis to do. Maybe it's how I write the prompt. Maybe I'm learning how to write prompts better so I get better results as well. So that to me is really, I agree with what you said, that if you're not using AI as part of your workflow and you're not improving that process, I don't see how you can keep pace with where the world is going. And I was reluctant to use it in the beginning because I thought, oh, I'm giving all this stuff away and where am I going with this thing? But now I've learned to use it as I would an assistant, or having 5, 6 people. And for $20 a month, I couldn't hire somebody to do what this thing is doing. It's unbelievable. So thank you. And thank you for your insights. It's unbelievable.
David, I'd like to turn it over to you for closing remarks or whatever we need to gracefully exit stage left. I'm happy to, I snuck out of work to come do this. They think I'm grading papers at home, and I might do that, but I'm happy to stick around if anybody had other questions offline.
Ken, I
Over
want
to
to
you,
thank
David.
you on behalf of the Monday meeting of Growth OD and all the marvelous brain power that's here, virtual and in person, for an amazing presentation on the cutting edge use of AI in one's research and passions. So at this point, we're going to turn to the checkout, and let me start with Dr. Wanda. Check out and choose somebody to check out after you. Thank you.
Hey, sorry about that. I was trying to join audio.
Thank you, Dr. Wanda.
I'm preoccupied today. I'm teaching. But I have closed caption on. I saw we were doing checkout. I'm very familiar with systems thinking, having read Donna Meadows, who's deceased. And I like the concept because it integrates stakeholders and community. I've been taking notes, but I do need to get the name of that website that can indicate it would help us with developing in the area of AI. I do use AI as a teaching assistant. It's very effective, but I have found you do need to check it. You can't totally rely on it. And that's all I have to say. I hope.
Aho, Dr. Wanda, choose somebody else, and I'll put some of the things in the chat, or Ken can. Thank you.
Let's go for Miss Joy Harris.
Thank you, Dr. Wanda. I enjoyed this talk so much, and I have not used all of the AI tools that were mentioned today. I have used Notebook LM, and nowhere near in the robust manner that was described to us today, but I really like Notebook LM. And I generally use ChatGPT to say, could you correct and improve something that I've already written? So I have used it for research before, but I never have it write anything for me. I write it and then ask it to correct and improve. Sometimes I ask to make it, would you make this information shorter? Well, could you make this information a little bit longer, a little more information? But there's so many possibilities and things that our world is just opening up to be able to use the artificial intelligence tools and assistants and Sherpas. And so I plan to use even more under the wise recommendations from people like Ken in this group. Alrighty, let's see. Let us hear from Doug Breckenridge.
Thanks, Joy. I'm just grateful to you, Ken. Thank you for not only the more why should we be using it, but in particular the hows. Really, really love the demonstration. Thanks for giving us on a direction here. Really happy and impressed with the ability to leverage research in an entirely new format here. So I've had a lot of ahas on how to go about this. So I'll be pestering you to keep getting instructed and mentored a little bit here as I'm building my own capabilities. Let me pass over to Peter.
Okay, I echo what Doug just said, Ken. Really valuable. I'm often struck, even in my own little world as a recovering imposter, how much of a time suck this can be, and ensuring that we find balance in our lives and harmony in our lives, and pay attention to the humans in our lives, not just the artificial ones. And Ken, I will definitely be in touch with you regarding the projects that we're working on in axiology, and of course, many of you will still be in touch as well. So, and Olivia and Tom, I owe you an email invitation on its way today. Thanks again, Ken. Oh, and Carol.
I have no words. I would like to spend hours and hours in Ken's presence being guided, coached. It has so much application in terms of where higher ed is going. And gratitude is beyond a word right now. I'll ask Olivia.
Thanks, Carol. So in addition to what everybody else has said, I am always amazed at what you know, Ken, and how practical and in-depth it is. And I'm having fun using your SAGE prompt with NLP. I'm creating a course in one of the lead mags that's going to talk about, do you have imposter syndrome? It's all about wounded leaders, finding their voices and healing in partnership with Vanessa. So, so I'm very grateful for that and the conversation today. I'll call on Jack.
Thank you, Olivia. I would say my takeaway from today, number one, Ken, thank you for a very good delivery, excellent communication of each principle in each area. I like the way you explain things. It's very easy to grasp. Some of the concepts I'm still in the process of learning. What I want to try to do is get AI to teach me how to use AI. So as a novice, I want to be able to prompt AI to teach me how to use it as a partner. And if anybody want to make a comment on that, I'm open, and I'll pass
What
it
I will
over.
do is, let me jump on that.
Okay.
I'm writing a tailored AI course for my officers as we go through the year, and I'm doing prompting to help them with wherever they are. I have the first 11 lessons of that built already that are very bite-sized. As soon as I'll get back to work and shoot that off as a compendium of that stuff.
Okay.
And I owe you probably a repository in Rizuku that stores those, so that as that continues to go, if you're interested, there's a way to stay connected to that. So
Okay,
I'll do
Ken.
that.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll pass it over to Amin.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Ken, for your for the presentation. It was very insightful. But for me, as highlighted, Paul, I'm quite skeptical a bit about AI. I say, okay, it could be a great tool when we've got for graduate student. For undergraduate student, it could be, as you said, they highlighted, Ken, you have to be teach, to develop their critical thinking. Having an IT in engineering background and experience, okay, what I mean, it could be useful for undergraduate student and below, okay? But yes, it is very important to be teach. And I wanted to add AI, it should be as something, as Vanessa highlighted in our group, something very ethical. It has been, should be sure to make careful who gonna use it. It is like mobile. Everyone use mobile. Maybe they use it maybe 10% about the mobile. They don't know what is the other side of the mobile things. You know what I mean? And want to make sure that what's make me scared about AI for the new generation. Do you think next time their friend will be robots rather than human being? And that make me scary because introvert people, when introvert people maybe say, okay, I will talk with AI, they don't have emotion, and you know what I mean, you can respond to him. So yes, I'm skeptical about, we have to find out the right balance. So
Well,
thank you
I,
so
I
much for
echo
everything.
that. The single most important values and ethical problem of our generation is exactly that, because it is so powerful already in using dialogue for pseudo therapy that you combine that with our willingness to anthropomorphize everything, and you can already see hundreds of instances where vulnerable personalities have been led astray without supervision with bad consequences. So the ethical use of AI tools, in my view, is the central question to be solved for the survival of the human race. It's that important.
Yes. So I will pass it then to Paul. Thank you, Ken.
Dick, again, this is unbelievable. The coordination, the absolutely the interaction of all these minds and Ken's incredible fire hose tsunami brilliance. It's like I need at least 365 days to get anywhere in this. Something I want to mention, or something I wrote down, was, dang, and I lost it. Oh, self-censoring was just a phrase that was used. And boy, that's a biggie. I have to censor myself. I want this equipment, this machinery, this AI, this other entity to censor itself. And how do you get this convolution that prevents bad ethics. So it's something to think about. I'm very grateful for all of this. Just, it's stunning. I need to be quiet and let somebody else talk, and that would be, I think everybody has maybe had a chance except maybe David himself. Is he still here? Or anybody who hasn't had a chance, just take the chance.
I think we lost our fearless leader.
Yeah, well, let me get my closing remarks then. I'm just grateful for your kind attention and your interest, and I live to be a catalyst for change on the boundaries of all the networks that I'm on. So my entire life is spent in searching for connections to add value. So if you're interested at all in any of this stuff, under any circumstances, just send me a note to longke@yahoo. You see my email in there, and would be delighted to work with you on any of these things.
And somebody just arrived on Tanis.
Yes, hello.
Hey, we're just wrapping up, but nice to see you.
Yeah, I just saw your email and I thought I would see
Oh.
if it's still available or still happening.
We're just signing
Yeah,
off. but-
got it. Anyway, it's good to know that you're here. Sorry to interrupt.
So I guess, oh, there's David. You're on mute, David.
Tom, your hand is up. Go ahead.
No, I was just waving goodbye. I thought we were leaving.
Yep, I'm going to take off. Always good to see you guys heading back to work, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Okay,
you.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.